New Year. I'd like to call this January 2nd Parks Board meeting to order at 5:30 p.m. Start with the pledge. I'm sorry, could we also take a moment of silence for tragedies that happened on New Year's Eve? Thank you. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Okay, before we get started, I'd just like to welcome Gail to the board as our new member. Also would like to thank Sarah Miller for her service to the Parks Board and to the town of Cedar Lake. She was an asset to the board, and she'll be missed, but just want to say thank you to her for her service. Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Marquardt?
Here.
Mr. Justice?
Here.
Mrs. Brannon? Here. Mr. Rodriguez?
Here.
Mrs. Dixon?
Here.
Mrs. Rivera?
Here.
Mr. Bungie is absent. Mr. Austin?
Present.
Mrs. Ray?
Here.
Mr. Wiseman? And I am here.
Okay, first order of business is election of officers. Number one is president. Do I have a motion? Or discussion?
Yeah. Okay.
Go ahead.
I make a motion to elect a park board president. Do I have to do that?
Yeah?
Well, there you go then.
We have to say a name?
Okay. I would like to see, not me, that's for sure. Hold on, I'm confusing myself for 1 second here. So I would like to get Paul as our new president for the park board.
Okay, there's a motion by Greg.
I'll second that motion.
Second by Dave. Have a roll call, please.
Mr. Marquardt?
Yes.
Mr. Justice?
Yes.
Mrs. Brannon? Yes. And Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes. Motion carries 4-0. Number two, vice president.
Well, I would like to make a motion to appoint Dave Justice vice president for the park board for 2025.
Do you accept the motion?
Yeah, I accept.
Okay.
I accept it.
I'll second that.
Okay, there's a motion by Ms. Marquardt, second by Ms. Brannon. Roll call, please.
Mr. Marquardt?
Yes.
Mr. Justice?
Yes.
Mrs. Brannon?
Yes.
And Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes. Motion carries 4-0. Okay, consent agenda, minutes for the November and December 2024 meetings. Any discussion on the minutes for those two? I'm sorry, we could just move to claims, it's all in the consent agenda. Parks and Rec General Fund, $38,814.47. Park Impact Fee Fund, $0. Parks and Rec Non-Reverting Fund, $1,964.84. Clubhouse Non-Reverting Fund, $3,173.10. Total expenditures, $43,952.41. No donations. Is there a motion for the consent agenda?
I'll make a motion to pass the consent agenda.
Okay, motion by Greg,
I'll second the motion.
second by Mr. Justice. Roll call, please.
Mr. Marquardt?
Yes.
Mr. Justice?
Yes.
Mrs. Brannon?
Yes.
And Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes. Okay, consent agenda passes 4-0. Old business, park maintenance shop. Not much to discuss here. I think we'll be working on these projects this year. So unless the board wants to discuss anything at this time, we can defer.
This is kind of like a first quarter thing that we're
Yeah.
putting together with some of the other ideas, right?
Mhm. Yeah, I don't think we have
Really nothing concrete to talk about.
nothing of substance today.
There's nothing yet.
No.
So you want to just defer this?
Yeah, we could probably defer, if anyone wants to make a motion to defer to the March meeting.
Okay, I'll make a motion to defer the park maintenance shop discussion to the March Parks and Rec Board meeting.
Okay, there's a motion by Mr. Markwart,
I'll second the motion.
second by Mr. Justice. Roll call, please.
Mr. Markwart?
Yes.
Mr. Justice?
Yes.
Mrs. Brandon?
Yes.
And Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes, motion carries 4-0. Number 2, Park Foundation. Do we have any update on this, or?
We failed.
Hmm?
We
No.
failed. We have 2 members, correct?
Right.
And then one was...
Gail.
Yeah.
No, not Gail. It's Cheryl Parker and Kathy Broomhead. And they did not want Maria Samara. So you're down to 2 members.
Okay. So do we
Maybe
need,
you can update, is it 3 or 5? Because I've got
At least
3 members.
and no more than 5.
okay,
So we're back to the drawing board.
yeah. Yep, okay. So I guess put out applications again, or just
Keep asking
recruit?
people.
Yeah.
And a couple arms in the audience. And
Would you like us to keep an application deadline out there? We can update our website with the application portal that's already there.
Yeah, I mean, it's good just to have it online.
Do you want to have a date or to apply, or we could be looking in November for applicants? So if we don't have a kind of a set deadline, I'm afraid.
Yeah, said something, couple months.
You
Yeah.
want to open?
Yeah, we can also maybe just, well, I don't want to defer it too long.
No.
Yeah, the end of February maybe, I don't know. Or maybe up to our February meeting,
Oh, yeah, that'd be great.
and then we can revisit it then.
So you'd like an application deadline to be extended until the end of February?
No, I'm sorry, to our February meeting.
So applications to come in before that,
By
Before
the-
the meeting.
the Wednesday before?
Yeah, so that's the 6th, the 5th.
And then we can just update our website on that,
Great.
under your direction.
Okay, so it's the 5th. So,
February 5th.
all right, so I would look for a motion to defer, to extend the application deadline for Park Foundation to February 5th and defer discussion to the February meeting.
I'll make a motion to defer the Park Foundation till February 5th meeting.
Okay, there's a motion by Mr. Markwart,
I'll second the motion.
second by Mr. Justice. Roll call, please.
Mr. Markwart?
Yes.
Mr. Justice?
Yes.
Mrs. Brandon?
Yes.
And Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes, motion carries 4-0. Okay. All right, item number 1 under new business. I think Greg W., if you want to.
Yeah, I'll take it away.
Yeah.
Yeah, so when I went to the IPRA, one of the courses I went to was about technology in the parks. And this was brought up, it's called Agents of Discovery. One of the main things is to bring technology to the parks, right, instead of hampering, like as we know our young kids nowadays just want to sit at home and be on a tablet. So what this is you can use your phone, iPads, tablets, and what it is, it's games. So, sorry. And so there's 8 challenges in one mission, and then what you do is you can get these kids to our parks. And then what it is, there's QR codes like that they scan, there's little games, and then after games, it teaches them like certain things about like Cedar Lake. So like the town grounds here, like how long has it been here, the museum, and then we can incorporate these games during also like different times of the year. So like one for like Halloween, Christmas, summertime, and just getting kids to our parks.
Yeah.
And so I contacted them, I spoke with them, they gave me, so what you guys see here is their fee for the whole, you can do 2 different things, you can do like one for 1 year and then 3 years. I think it's best just try it for a year and just to see how it goes.
Yeah.
And this is just a way to get people at our parks.
Yeah. And is there a limit on enrollment of it? Or?
Enrollment, no, is not, so you can have like 2-3 family members go on it, and it's done, there's no like, there's no information, right? There's not like the kid signing in, if you're worried about putting a kid's information in, it's not that. It's just,
really?
no, yeah, they pick a character and then you just go for it.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so who decides the information that Like
So-
when you scan the
So
tags?
we do.
Okay.
So they'll help us build our missions and
Mhm.
our challenges, but in the end, we'll have a final say.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And what's the stand-up time look like to get it up and running?
I really didn't, it just depends on how long we can put the game together.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Is that just like one event, or is it multiple events?
You could do multiple, or you can do like one event at a time. So you can say, like, hey, we have a challenge here at Town Grounds. Come to our Town Grounds, and then they would download the app, and then it asks for your location, so that it knows when you're at Town Grounds, then you can play the game. Yeah, or you can do multiple ones. You can be like, you have one at Town Grounds, one at Lynn's Way, one at Kiwanis. You can do multiple, so they can go to multiple parks.
I sat in on this as well, this section of the conference, and there was a park, it slipped me which one that was currently using it, and they were doing like a grand reopening. So in order to get people to come to that park after the reopening, they presented a challenge for there. So what Greg's been able to get quoted for you is up to 8 challenges within a year.
Okay.
And those challenges would remain open for X amount of time, and then a new challenge would come up. So this is what, and it'll also give us the metrics of how many people used it. That's why we can make a good decision after trying something new, throwing it at the
Yeah.
wall, and say, okay, well, we have this many people use it over these months, and if we choose to run it again, maybe we pick the more popular month. So it's going to give us the metrics to go off of.
Yeah, and then it will also, so it says that you see the metric, it tells you number of users, who use it the most, what park are they using the most. So it also gives you an idea of where people are actually going for this.
Demographic data.
Yeah, what the data is
Where
where,
the
yes.
people are going.
Yeah.
Where the park's being used.
And so the challenges wouldn't run concurrently, they'd be separate, like events throughout the...
You could do that, or you can have a couple concurrent, completely however we want to do it, yeah.
Now, how long do the challenges, just as long as we want them to last, or?
Pretty much, yeah.
Okay.
Like if it, like 1 month, if like for a summer month, right, you do like a Halloween one or a Christmas one, right, just month, couple weeks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, they're compiling data from the amount of people that actually join into these games. And
Correct.
is that something that we could do without using them?
So like trying a game, you mean like just a different game?
Yeah. I mean,
We have to,
a $2,000
Yeah.
start off is
yeah,
questionable because
absolutely.
we don't know if it's gonna work or not.
Yeah, so like creating a game, that's kind of out of like, we would have to download an app, we'd have to go through the whole like creating it, so you're pretty much,
Yeah, you'd be
That's
starting
a little
from scratch.
IT.
yeah, that's IT.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There is another way that we could go about trying to get phone use, and that is us creating QR codes and missions ourselves with our QR codes. In a previous community, I created a virtual or Easter egg hunt that was QR code based during COVID. So you would go and scavenger hunt for your Easter egg QR code, and that did work in a small community. That could be something we could try. That would just try to get some technology out there, but it wouldn't be something to the scheme of this, where you're creating a character, which the kids like to do,
Yes.
and it's really trying to get those gamer kids out and into those open spaces and enjoying those spaces again. So, I mean, we could throw 15 programs, little tiny mom and pop programs, for $2,000, and we may see or impact 10 kids, but we could try this, and we may impact hundreds of kids and
Over
get
the
them
course
out
of a
there.
year.
And actually, they said that Pokemon Go, when the parks closed for COVID and such, or when the community shut down because of COVID, Pokemon Go was like the reason people started coming back into our parks. They were Pokemon hunting and fell back in love with our nature and outdoor spaces. So that shows us that there is technology and they are utilizing it in the parks, but you can do hand in hand the same.
Yeah, so I also looked at Pokemon Go. On Town Grounds and some of your parks, there already are stuff that you can do for there, but to add more, you have to be a level 37. And I am not a level 37. I'm letting my kids play it though, I'm up to level 8 for it, so I'm working on it.
So what's the, how do they connect with the kids to get them, I mean, where's the connection between this program and the kids? Because you have to make that connection to get them there, so what's that, how does that work?
We're advertising.
Yeah, advertising,
Okay.
yep.
We are advertising.
Yeah, going to the schools, letting them know we have this game that they can play, to come to our parks. Getting with Gateway, who deals with our homeschool kids, letting them know that we have this available for them. It's just advertising out there, just throwing it out there, yep.
There could be permanent signage or temporary signage placed in those park spaces that, while you're here, get your phone out and go on a mission.
Yes.
So we could create that at minimal cost to do so.
Although I believe we do have to start new things and try new things,
Mm-hmm.
this may be one of them. I'd like to see the other park, the things that we have going now, like soccer and everything, improve. I know that, I look at how many people show up to everything.
Yes.
Usually, because you're
Yep.
supposed to. The turnout is not that great at this point.
With what?
With, okay, let's say, even with the thing they just did with the, hold on.
The Ice Fest?
Well, the Ice Fest, that was one, that's for sure, but, even with the bingo, the senior bingo, how many players do you usually get?
Between 20 and 30.
Right, and
Yeah.
you're in a town of how many thousand people?
Seniors are a hard group to
I know.
Yeah.
But I mean, even the kids' projects, when you had the painting and
Yeah.
things like that, it was very limited to the people that showed up.
Well, the nice thing, if we did something like this, though, there's no scheduled event, there's no
Yeah.
scheduled date. I mean, the event
Right.
could go over
It could last for a
a
while,
month.
I understand.
Yep.
And, you know, something like, you know, when we did the Halloween, trunk or treat, I mean, that was the best attendance I've seen of kids and, you know,
Yeah.
residents, other than like Summerfest.
And if you
You
hear,
know, I mean, on town
Yeah.
grounds, you know, other than like Farmers Market and Summerfest, I mean, that was a park run event and we got awesome attendance there and.
So Greg, is there anything that they, when they do this challenge, I mean, is there, they get points or how?
you could do an award at the end if you
Okay.
wanted to, like, here's your big surprise.
Yeah.
We could put something together like that for sure, yeah. But there's like probably rewards in the game that you get like a badge, yeah. There's stuff like that you've been to this park, so here's your badge. Yeah, but like for like an award, that's more like on our side, so we're like, hey, here's the prize at the end. Yeah.
So that would have to be something that you guys would have to try and figure out.
Yes.
And,
Yeah.
because when you talked about trunk or treat, obviously the draw is the candy.
Candy,
Right.
correct.
You know?
And that's probably like what you're looking for, right? Like, hey, you do this, here's your prize, right?
Yeah, yeah,
What
because I
kid doesn't
think-
want chocolate,
I
right?
think
Yeah.
that's, you get a
Yeah.
couple of them to do that, and then, a couple other kids hear about it, and
There's a
parents
draw.
talk about it.
There's a draw, absolutely,
You know,
yeah.
and
There's an
then-
award at the end,
yeah.
oh, absolutely, yeah.
We even discussed this opportunity, maybe launching one of them for Movies in the Park series, and it would run through the series. So you may show up to the park an hour early or a half hour early to run a mission and then stick around for the movie. So it's a good thing to try to piggyback among some other things that are happening as far as
Yep.
programming and events.
Was any other town that's using the product, did you talk to anyone that's using it?
So the person who used it was from Clarksville, and it took a minute for them to get used to it, but they do what Mindy said, like, they piggyback off events, and their community's getting used to it now. It's like, and the kids are very involved. Like, they did a Christmas one, that was a big hit for them.
And what age group is it attracting to Clarksville?
So it seems like, well, it depends, because sometimes you got gamers, right, and that age range could go into teens, but it seemed for more like the 9 to 12. 6, 7, and because you can even get 6 and 7, 'cause nowadays, my 6-year-old is very good with a tablet, so if he sees his 9-year-old playing it, guess what, I'm going to want to play it, so I would probably say the 6 to 16-year-old range is where you're looking at.
Would it be possible to get like a reference call with Clarksville? I mean,
Yeah,
do
I
you
think
think you'd
so.
be able to get in touch with them?
Yeah.
Like before our next meeting and,
Yep.
kind of get some of that demographic data,
Yeah.
how many people are using
That would be
it,
great.
Yeah, because they use this, so
numbers,
yeah.
we can look up Clarksville's demographic data and see what their town size is and things.
No, yeah,
If
absolutely.
you can get a little more information
Yeah,
now and then.
and then after they can show us like some of their, like, because they
Yeah.
use it, so they can show us their demographic and all that stuff, yeah. I
And we can
I
send,
kinda
we
look
can
at-
send some questions to ask them.
Yeah.
Now and
Yeah, let me
next
know.
week, and if you're able to do a reference call with them, that would be great.
Yeah, I absolutely can.
Yeah.
So what would something like this be considered in the budget, as far as where would it come from? Is there a certain?
Program services or just,
Program, recreation and
yeah,
programming.
program services and programming.
And what slice of the pie is that,
We don't have an earmarked budget for like
specific
for
things?
specific
Okay.
for
So it comes out of
programs.
just the
Yeah, we do
general-
for events, but not programming.
Okay,
So, it's just general budget, so if it was supply to buy from it, we'd buy that from supply. If it was a service we were getting to make that program happen, it would come from services, so,
So that's a much bigger pool.
yes. And if there's additional questions that you would like for Greg to specifically ask, if you could just reach out to him,
Mhm.
he can then set up that call with them and ask those questions and bring it back to the board for review.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And maybe, see with the company, if there's other, parks in Indiana that are using it,
Mm-hmm.
and maybe somebody that's been using it longer than a year, like 2 or 3 years, and
Yes.
see what kind of turnout or response they've gotten.
Yeah, I can absolutely email him.
Is there any way to look at the actual program or like, do they have like a sample that we could just look at online and see?
Yeah, they do. You'd have to download the app, yeah, it's
Okay.
Agents of Discover, but yeah, I
Okay.
can absolutely see they can give us like a sample of it, for sure.
Maybe they can even get a demo ready.
The demo, yeah,
That would
absolutely.
be nice.
Yeah.
Yep,
So we can email them the demo opportunity.
All right.
Oh,
Absolutely.
great, good.
So I think you got a little bit of homework, just
Yeah.
any demo opportunity you can get, and then some type of reference
Yeah,
call
we'll
with
do.
another town,
Absolutely.
and with the company,
Yeah.
that would be great.
yeah, absolutely.
Then we can decide if it's something that, I mean, I think it, it could work out, as
Yeah.
long as we manage it properly and.
Agreed.
It seems like one of those good ideas that if done properly on our end.
Mhm.
Yes, absolutely. It could be successful, I totally agree,
If we
yes.
fall short, that's where it would fail, it
Yeah.
starts here.
Yes, I agree.
Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. So I guess, is there any other discussion on this topic from the board? No?
So we just defer that,
We can defer it to the next meeting, if we're able to get
pending additional information.
yeah, if we get that referenced up by next meeting, that's great. If we have to wait till March, is what it is, but,
I'll get it for February.
okay, great, thank you. All right, so I'd look for a motion to defer this item to the February meeting.
I'll make a motion to defer Agents of Discovery till our February meeting.
I'll second the motion.
Okay, motion by Mr. Markwart, second by Mr. Justice. Roll call, please.
Mr. Markmore?
Yes,
Mr. Justice?
Yes.
Mrs. Brandon?
Yes.
And Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes. Motion carries 4-0. Okay, park activity fees, which is Exhibit B. This is just kind of like a formality to clean up the fee schedule, right?
It's the process to adopting the fee schedule.
Okay, so we've already accepted the fee schedule as it's written in the exhibit, but we have to recommend this to town council to adopt the ordinance,
To amend the ordinance.
amend the ordinance. Okay. And the only two things that are changing is there would be an option for a 7-day pass, or that's, for this one specifically, this is just for the discount offered for nonprofits at clubhouse and park spaces. For rentals would be 25%.
25% discount,
25% discount.
yes,
and
Yeah.
it was 50%.
Okay,
Yeah.
I like it, great.
okay, so do we have to read this, this ordinance
By title.
by title?
Title only.
All right, Mr. Vice President. I'll have you, it's B, yeah, so you gotta go through that, that top paragraph there.
Yep.
Town of Cedar Lake, Lake County, Indiana, is there an ordinance number?
It looks like 1322.
There will be when the council.
There will be after
Oh,
council.
okay, after council.
An ordinance amending town parks and recreation activities fee ordinance number 1322, being an ordinance amending town parks and recreation activities fee ordinance number 1242, being an ordinance amending an activities fee schedule for the town Department of Parks and Recreation and all matters related thereto, repealing all town code sections and ordinances or parts thereof in conflict herewith, and all matters related thereto, repealing all town code sections and ordinances or parts thereof in conflict herewith, and all matters related thereto.
Thank you. Okay, is there a motion to recommend this ordinance to town council?
I'll make a motion to recommend the ordinance to town council,
I'll second the motion.
number 1322, sorry.
Motion by Mr. Markwart, second by Mr. Justice. Roll call, please.
Mr. Markmore?
Yes,
Mr. Justice?
Yes.
Mrs. Brandon,
Yes.
and Mr. Rodriguez.
Yes, motion carries 4-0. Okay, the next one would be C in the exhibit, in the agenda packet. And this one is just to, the only change to this fee schedule is, the 7-day dog park pass, correct?
Incorporating a 7-day dog park pass for 1 dog and a 7-day dog park pass for 2 dogs
Okay,
is in addition to. So when we get those summer visitors or whatnot, there's an opportunity for them to enjoy the dog park as well.
I have a question. So you have to redo the ordinance just to revise the exhibit?
So it was adopted by ordinance, the fee schedule originally, and if we're changing the fees, we have to amend that ordinance to adopt the new fee schedule for the dog
Okay,
park.
even though it's an exhibit attached to the,
It's the guts of the ordinance. That's the legislation you're recommending be considered.
okay.
I will recommend at the end of this year and years thereafter that as you end your year and you look at your next year, you make a master look-see at the rate schedule and do it one time.
yeah.
Well, we recommended in November, so when would be a good time that you would want the recommendation?
November's a good time.
Okay, that's when we did establish, but maybe shoot for October, that way
Yeah.
we're ready for January, just in case there's a hiccup.
Yeah,
Okay, I'll make that note.
okay. All right, Mr. Vice President, if you could read the ordinance by title only.
An ordinance amending corrected town ordinance number 1467, being an ordinance establishing a fee schedule for use of the town of Cedar Lake Kiwanis Dog Park, including fund usage requirements, and further establishing rules and regulations for use of the Cedar Lake Kiwanis Dog Park facility, as well as all matters related thereto.
Okay, is there a motion to recommend this ordinance amendment to the town council?
I'll make a motion to recommend the ordinance proposal to town council.
I'll second it.
Okay, motion by Mr. Markwart, second by Mrs. Brannon. Roll call, please.
Mr. Markwart?
Yes.
Mr. Justice?
Yes.
Mrs. Brandon?
Yes.
And Mr. Rodriguez?
Yes, motion carries 4-0. Okay, and now we're on reports. The superintendent report.
Hi, Happy New Year. The superintendent report for December is actually going to be the annual report that I've presented to you and the town council. Our annual reporting is about a 15-page document that was sent out to you December 12th for review, and I'm here to answer any questions about that at this time. There just hadn't been any traffic on this large report, so I'm here to answer anything that you may, and that would substitute for my December superintendent report.
No, I appreciate the report, it's very well done.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
And I had wondered about the Rain Barrel fundraiser. That's a park fundraiser, or that's a town council fundraiser?
That's a park fundraiser, and that was established last year as a Taylor Ice Fest fundraiser. So $10 of each rain barrel that was purchased went into Taylor Ice Fest monies to help offset the cost of the event.
And how many rain barrels did you
What
sell?
was our final number? I don't really recall.
Final number last year was 10.
10 rain barrels sold. Years previously, the town was selling 6 or 5 of them, but it was never as a fundraiser opportunity, so we thought, why don't we help a new event establish with it, and we ran with it that way.
We're also running one right now as well.
Yep.
Not for Taylor Ice Fest though. This is just a fundraiser. We tried a different time because last year we went until June, I want to say.
Oh, I thought this is a Taylor Ice Fest one.
This is the Taylor Ice Fest one?
Yeah,
so
you can't
but this
fundraise
one,
without a specific purpose.
so this one is, we're running it earlier though.
That way the rain barrels are delivered for the rainy season, because it seems like in years past they were getting here in June and July. Well, people want those up and established and ready to collect during the rainy season, so we bumped it up early.
Okay.
So it looks like the report just kind of goes through, programs and outreach and maintenance for each month. What would you say was like the biggest park success last year, parks department success? Just either programs or just general, you know,
One full operating year of that office being open and fully staffed, being available to the public. That was a big, you know, a big thing. But really being able to show and take credit for, like, our playground maintenance. When our annual inspector came through for playground maintenance, that there was much less this year as a whole year of operation, like we're maintaining our equipment. That those items, when we attended the playground inspection, this is a really big shout out to our park maintenance crew. They're doing monthly inspections, but some of the things that the inspector is going to find are, you know, what they're trained to find. And so by the time we got the report from the insurance certified inspector, we had already rectified everything on that list before I even gave you guys the report that was given to me. So that shows that we have a very responsive team who is being proactive in the maintenance and care of some really old equipment that we have here. So they are staying atop of things, and you know, that felt really good. And then I believe that another really good goal and accomplishment for us was identifying you know, programs and finally getting through with the master plan survey and knowing what the community wants. So we started at the very close to the end of the year going, oh, we need to have shelters in our, so we've purchased shelter kits. And so that feels really good that we're getting traction on some of these bigger amenities and trying to answer the wants of the community. That feels good after a year of operation. So.
Yeah, I agree. I think getting that master plan started and, you know, kind of almost the finish line last year was a really big accomplishment.
Agreed. I'll give a shout out to your guys. Your crew is fantastic. They keep these parks really clean. Empty the trash, everything looks good now. So, even in the summertime, cutting the grass, perfect. I was very happy with them.
They do a really great job. We've got people who are very dedicated in those positions to the park. Take pride in it. Yeah.
Any other feedback for Mindy on the annual report?
I think the master plan is, you know, is huge. You know, it's a really, really big deal. So.
Yeah.
I did receive an update from Context Design as well. I just want to throw in here as we're talking about master plan. I will be meeting with them Monday via Zoom call just to kind of go over some of those conceptual sites that we've identified as a steering committee and park board. If there's anything in those spaces that we have identified that you're like, oh wow, I think we should try and put in these conceptual plans, feel free to email me between now and Monday before I meet with them. I think it's a 10:30 meeting. So I can make sure that we can get that, you know, they're just starting to pencil in things and how we're going to make it fit, but if you're like, oh wow, I really want to see this here, the worst thing is I can get it conceptualized and then we could choose not to move forward to it.
Yeah.
So we won't be finalizing the conceptual plan, but until we meet on our goals and objectives for the year for the park board, this little opportunity to throw something that way for those sites that we identified would be great. And that's really what's up and coming for master planning. We probably won't be seeing any draft notes from the DNR until like end of February or beginning of March. So that's where they'll say, let's tweak this, or we don't like the way this looks. So we won't be seeing any feedback in program.
Got it. All right. Recreation coordinator report. You want to plug some programs that we got coming up?
Yeah, so first I would just like to say Kim, who's been our fitness instructor for 8 years, she has retired. So I'd like to thank Kim for our service. And then we have a new fitness instructor who's starting January 14th. Her name is Janet. She will be coming along with us here. As far as plugging along, spring soccer. It's going to be a fun year, I think, this year. So public registration's on February 10th. We're getting coaches right now. We have until January 24th. A couple of them have already told me that they're coming back, so that's great news. In terms of stuff they have coming up, in January we have a Nerf battles for adults and kids coming up. We got an agreement with Boys and Girls Club that we're going to be using their gym this year, well, in January at least. We do have a blood drive coming up in February, And then we got with the Purdue Extension, they're gonna come run a couple classes with us. So the first one is in beginning of February. And then, Movies in the Park and Lakeside Arts Guild are, I think, two things that we're also working on that is coming back this year as well.
Great. Thank you.
Our newsletter just launched as well, so that's on our website, and it's our newsletter for January 2025 through June. It has a lot of things in there that we already have planned, but we are adding as we go, because some things just aren't firm in the time of a 6-month newsletter. So we'll be adding those as we get firm.
Yeah, I saw the newsletter. It looked,
Yeah.
it was impressive that there's that many things
Yes,
that
thank
you guys have in there.
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, we're trying to see what the community likes in terms of programming, and then obviously the events that we have coming up. Movies in the Park was a very big hit, so we're bringing that back. Everyone loves Lakeside Arts Guild, and they're actually adding Thursdays this year now, because last year they were just Sundays, so glad that we were able to bring them back as well.
Have we ever considered bus trips anywhere? You know, like,
Yeah, just bus trips.
is it something you're looking at, or?
It's something that me and Minnie talked about. The thing is the fee for the bus trip,
Right.
is where we are stuck at right now. Yeah, depending on where you go, the bus trip, they're not cheap. So it is something that we are looking at though, yes.
We have some files looking at that and such, and our typical bus trippers are generally our seniors.
Correct.
And if we were to if we're having low enrollment with 32 free programming, to pay for bus trips to go out of town or away for the weekend becomes maybe not cost effective to them. So, that's kind of where we're at. We do have some price points on like 10-passenger vans and the insurance requirements to take bus trips. We've looked into those things as well. But to say, oh, this is identified as a place that we're going to go and it's going to cost X, Y, and Z, we just haven't thrown anything together because we're really not getting any official asks of the community, like could you create a Brown County bus trip, or can you create a Tulip Festival bus trip? So if there are people listening and watching, we'd love to hear your feedback, and we can start trying to gear those places to go. I think one of our senior groups, when we spoke with them and did some assessment, stated that, why don't we go to the Shrine of Christ Passion right here in town? And we're like, why would we rent a bus to get you there? It literally costs $41.
One was a day trip to the museum.
Yep.
To our museum.
To our museum.
To our museum, yeah.
So,
Little nuts.
Yeah, so we actually have looked at like maybe getting, not bus tripping, but everyone coming here and then us going together to the museum together,
I was thinking more things like Cubs Park or,
Yes.
Seniors like stuff like that.
Yes, they do.
I went on one trip with Cedar Lake years ago, and we went to Cubs Park. There weren't enough seats on that bus. That thing booked up in a week.
we got Cubs fans here is what you're saying?
Yeah. And it filled up. And it was nothing but a regular school bus. And it was a fantastic trip.
And
Really? It wasn't a charter bus? That
Nope.
surprises me.
It was a
People
regular
wanted to hop on
school
a
bus.
school bus for that.
I went on a trip out of here too, to Lincoln Park Zoo, their Christmas lights.
Mhm.
It was not seniors, it was everybody.
See, I like
People
that.
brought their kids, there were
Beautiful.
some seniors, but it was a fantastic trip.
Yeah, I think it's something that should be explored
Help us
more.
identify those spaces. We'll look into them and get some packages, price points together.
Yeah.
You might want to consider a Sox game.
I will do that now, maybe, but I'm sure you guys
I'm sure it's cheaper.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Nicer stadium.
They might pay for the bus.
And then, I mean, everybody's willing to pay. I mean, I would think they would, for their seats on the bus and tickets, but I don't, that's something that's beyond me.
No, but we can start looking into that. We can identify a few places and put some prices together and enroll those through the park board and see if these are things that you feel
Yeah,
are
I mean, maybe this
worthwhile.
it makes sense to identify like a baseball game,
Museum trip.
a museum or a zoo
Or a
trip,
zoo.
Yes.
or even like a wine trip,
Wine trip.
to Southwest Michigan, just day trips.
Day trips, yes.
Yeah, I mean, the upside to like Lincoln Park Zoo is that there's no admission.
It's free,
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, so I
Yes.
mean, that seems like it would be a great option,
You're
because
sitting on the lake.
if money is the
Beautiful.
big
Yes.
You know,
Mhm.
they can bring a picnic, take the bus to the zoo.
Yeah, I agree. That'd be really cool.
All right. Bring it down.
No, keep,
Thanks.
floor is yours. Okay, any other discussion on the recreation report? Okay, maintenance report, is there anything specific, just kind of normal maintenance?
Aside from, one more shout out for this crew, the hours and time that they put into getting the ground set up and prepared and execution of, this Taylor Ice Festival was such a feat for 2 and 3 employees that we had. Of course, it was all hands on deck at certain points in time, and all staff was, decorating this place up and getting things ready for the event. And I mean, we did get really great feedback of how nice it was and how much more lights we had and things like that. But a lot of time was spent helping get that and the 2 other satellite locations ready for the event. So shout out to them for, it was a very cold decorating time. I wish we would have started in September.
Yeah, we got a cold snap in,
Yeah.
in December, early December.
So, and other than that, they're working on inventory, and repairing the picnic tables and, preventative maintenance at this time of year. And don't forget that your parks crew also is in charge of plowing.
Right.
So they have places and spaces that they are on an on-call schedule at this point of the year to go out and plow and maintain places and spaces that have been identified previously.
Okay.
I saw last year you had, done maintenance on all the picnic tables in January, when you don't need them in the parks.
Yeah, we pull them out of the parks for the winter months, and we rehab them, you know, if it's stain or nuts and bolts or replacement of boards. So that's already started. We've got some things taken apart and being repaired.
The newer one, the ones you just bought, the plastic, do you leave those out during the winter?
The resin are
They don't
weather
have to come
resistant
in.
with, yeah, they don't have to come in or go undercover. And that's the problem when you have so many picnic tables and wood in your inventory and you don't have a proper place to store them out of the elements, they're falling apart and dry rotting so much sooner than, so that's why we're slowly every year bringing in more of those resin tables into the park's inventory to have something that is sustainable, that we don't have to have a building or facility that's covered to keep those tables from dry rotting and, you know, over years. So, you know, the sustainability of a wooden picnic table is just not there versus the lifespan of what we're getting out of resin, you know, tables, so.
Okay. Anything from town council?
I guess it's gonna come from a senior point of view.
Okay.
So we did a survey, the seniors did, whatever happened with all those ideas, and now we only meet once a month, which I think that's another problem when you say the numbers are low. When you're picking one day out of 30, you're not gonna, if you give them more variety, I think there'd be more people to show up. That's just,
Yeah.
hear from them.
No, yeah, I
I
totally
can
agree.
speak on that.
Yep, go ahead.
I actually am the one who met with the seniors and conducted an assessment of needs and wants. That was presented to Greg and discussed when he came on board. And we ran with some of those ideas and tried to bring them and incorporate them. But the reason for the combination of the one day, Mary Joan, was because we were getting like 10 people to show up to one and 4 to show up to the other and to buy food and snacks. And even though we were getting some donated, we had some really great progress on that. It just wasn't cost effective for the number of seniors that we were not charging to come, but costing us to meet twice monthly or 3 times monthly. Or so until we could get a better established group, it was in the best interest to combine. They were showing up for bingo, which bingo does cost us money because we're buying prizes. So we tried to combine the speaker with the bingo in an effort to be a little bit more responsible with the taxpayer dollars for the seniors. So it's still the same amount of time, it just was condensed to one day because we were buying refreshments for each day. And 10 would sign up, but 4 would show, so.
Okay, and one more thing, just because I'm thinking about it. How is the basketball court coming?
Basketball court is kind of in just winter phase right now. Your
Okay.
concrete is poured, your goalposts are in. Backboards and, sport coating will happen in the spring months where we'll put that, sport coating on, and then we'll be working with, Mary Joan on the donation of the memorial tree. You have a bench that will be ordered at the beginning of the year to be placed there, and 2 new garbage cans.
We're paying for the
Perfect.
bench too.
Oh, you're buying a bench as
We're
well?
buying the bench and a tree, yes.
Oh, then we have another park bench that we had earmarked for there. So thank you, Mary Jo. That we'll allocate to another park.
Good.
And I just wanted to say, welcome to Gail, and also I wanted to, thank Sarah Miller for her time and her talents, her abilities. I'm sure this won't be her last time, serving the town in some capacity, so thank you to Sarah, and, hope everybody, has a great start to the new year, and a lot of good ideas floated around today. Did we find out who owns the washing machine? I'm serious.
According to our historian, Mary Jo, that was the clubhouse.
That's the clubhouse.
Okay.
It's part of, because that's what we use to clean, so.
I thought they were free.
Ed uses it, but it's part of the expense of the clubhouse.
Okay.
It's just like the furnace or,
Do you have an idea, when I looked in the PO system, was that donated when the clubhouse was brought there?
no, when it was bought, we had separate washer and dryer. That Stack'em, that came some after I was gone, I don't know. So it can't be 10 years.
Okay, I looked in the PO system and I can't seem to find that purchase, but there really wasn't any good
Ed
record.
didn't know?
I didn't speak to Ed
Ask Ed,
specifically.
he'll know.
He'll know?
Yeah, Ed will know.
Well, usually you know, so I was like, oh, it's the clubhouses.
I
So
forget.
I went looking in the system. It looks like we're gonna probably have to replace if it's more than 10 years.
Yeah, it's definitely,
Pretty
you know,
old.
it's gotta be.
Yeah. But thank you for your help.
Yeah, no problem.
All right, I didn't see any written communication. So at this time, I'll open it up for public comment. Public comment going twice. Public comment 3 times. Public comment's now closed. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
I'll make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second?
I'll second.
Okay, meeting is now adjourned. Our next meeting is February 6th, 2025 at 5:30 PM.